Yeah, so so it was a bunch of when I got to DC and I got to like my mother's place and I got down to DC in that area. That was when I saw like a bunch of like different interdimensional beings, like just different beings that just like was like you name it, like all types of beings. There were some beings that I had called sky beings. I was just giving beings that I'm sorry, because now I'm thinking about it. I was just giving beings their own name. Like, I was just like, I don't know what their name is. I just started naming beings just to like keep track of everything. Cause I'm like, there were some beings that looked like Transformers, like for real, like look like Transformers, like the Transformer movie, like just different, I know it's crazy, but it's the truth. And there was some bands I called sky bands. They was like, and now I know the different ones. But at the time, I'm laughing because I'm like, I was so green. I was still green at that time. But anyway, so these bands, I just called them sky bands, and they was like as tall as the freaking sky. Like they'd be literally in the sky, like lanky as beings. And at the time too, I didn't want to, because my mother had contacted like someone, like she used to watch like these different people on YouTube or something like that speak about these different type of things related to the stuff I'm talking about, and they wanted to interview me. And at the time I didn't want to do it because I was like, I still had a lot of fear programs. And also every time you would speak about these particular beings, because things operate in an energetic realm very differently, and the way you conjure energy and stuff like that, like I said, it's different for me now. So I don't have the fear programs I had before, so I don't have problems speaking about these things. But I understand, like, from the experiences that I've been through, and when I would speak about these things, it was like I would just conjure them up, like these beings would just come. So that was a lot for me at the time because I was still, adjusting within the process of everything. Um, you know, and yeah, so there was some beings that was like Cyclops beings. Like I said, you name it, it was all types of different beings. Like that was like, but the thing was, because my understanding at the time was limited, and when I went to DC on that area, and I just knew too, like when I would see, this is where this all this stuff runs deep, and I just feel like I'm jumping around and it might not make sense to y'all. But there are beings that exist, and there are beings that exist within our space, like constantly, like they're all around us, even within your home, within your space. And everything vibrates a certain signature and a certain frequency, and it carries a certain frequency, right? And many times, like, and when you're very tapped in, when you go into a lot of like enclosed spaces, the energy can be suffocating, especially for those that don't regularly clear out their space. Like feng shui is a real thing, or saging your place, or clearing out your space, or allowing sunlight and air to move through and all that. Because if you see how these energies stagnate and these beings stagnate, and everything vibrates a certain frequency, so it's suffocating. So when you're very tapped in and you're in enclosed spaces, it can be very suffocating to your body, because the energy that's emanating within them, especially depending on the vibration of the people within the house, determines what kind of entities and things gathers and stays within their space. So if you're like a very toxic person, or you have like, just, I'm not gonna get into all that, just think about it on that scale. But anyway, so me going into enclosed spaces was like, it was bothering me, especially like in my mother's space, because it was like the type of beings that was lingering in there, and things like that. And this is when I learned too about attachments and stuff, because then I saw my father was like sleeping and taking a nap at one point, and then there was some beings that was over top of him that was like doing things to him while he was asleep, and so just having to learn all these different tactics, like, and things from experience, but observation. This whole process that I went through, that was up for 7 days, it was more about observation than anything. Like, my spirit team wanted me to pay attention, observe, things of that nature. Now, I wanted to stay outside most of the time because nature naturally, even though all the beings they everywhere, they outside, it's all that, all that. But nature naturally, the vibration of nature and the open space, it's helpful, and you can breathe, better. So I would always, during that process, I wanted to stay outside more. But the thing about it was, I was also somewhat battling these beings because and my parents were concerned that people was going to think I was crazy because I didn't care like if I was like talking to them or like I was like I was going on for some of them because like I said the boundaries thing. And then there was many that was like very shocked that I was on, that I could see them. Because just think about, because I would like be walking outside and I'd be like looking around, I looking at these beings, and then they would be going about their business, many of them, like like they had tasks to do. And some of them would like take a second look like, can she see, and when word had got out that I could see or that I was open, it had everyone coming through, like all manners of types of beings that were just coming through and that were scanning my eyes. So just think about, like, it was a battle to me because it's like, you're invading my space, like get back, like get back from out of my face. But it was like this thing that they would do where they would all come through and they would like look deeply in my eyes as if they was looking through my soul. And many of them had this scanning ability, like where they would just be like scanning my retinas. But I know it goes further beyond that. And so it was that. So I had to have a certain demeanor about me in order to like traverse all of this. And many of them were trying to intimidate me. Many of them could shape shift. That's when I learned like the different types of beings and the ones that can be more harsh. And I've seen the reptilian ones and the ones that can be more harsher beings, and then the ones that are not very harsh but they just mischievous. And it's different, it's just different levels to all of it. So I had experienced that. So at the time I didn't realize what was occurring. I thought that DC, I'm like, what's going on in DC? I'm thinking all of these different, because all types of different interdimensional beings, all types. And I'm thinking like all of them are existing in this one space. And it wasn't until years later, in another video I was saying how when you are going, in order for you to come back into your power for chosen ones, it's like a process for us. Like your higher self does not allow you to fully know everything like within one moment. It's taking you through different stages of your life to gather pieces to a puzzle that you're placing together. And then sometimes it's like you may not understand something that you even went through until maybe years down the line or months or however long, not until you gather another piece to a puzzle. And then it's like you can place those two together and you're like, oh, that I get it now. So that was kind of like what happened to me. And mind you, it took 9 years, I mean, obviously, because everything about that situation kept coming, pieces, I was gathering information and clarity constantly. But what I'm saying is, for all of that to come together, wasn't till like a year ago, 9 years later, when my higher self had revealed to me and showed me and really told me that it wasn't me, those beings wasn't all there within that space, that I had pierced like the 12 dimensions, that I had basically, me being so open, I had pierced the layers of the 12 dimensions. So all of the different type of interdimensional beings that I was seeing, I was perceiving it from my human self, that they were all in one enclosed space, or like, not enclosed space, but all in one area, or just in DC. But it was actually me piercing past each veil of dimension and seeing these different layers of beings, which was true, because even with the sky beings was way in the back, like, and I think those particular beings are 11D beings.